You know what you need to do. You know how to do it. You might have watched videos about it, read books about it, and promised yourself you'd start tomorrow. And yet, tomorrow keeps moving. What's strange is that procrastination isn't usually a problem of knowledge. Most procrastinators already know the solution. They know they should start the project, make the call, go to the gym, apply for the opportunity, write the first page, but they don't. Not because they're lazy, not because they don't care, and not because they lack ambition. In fact, many procrastinators care too much. They're often intelligent, thoughtful, and highly aware of their potential. Which raises a difficult question. If you genuinely want a better life, why do you keep delaying the actions that would create it? The answer is more psychological than most people realize. And once you understand it, procrastination starts to look very different. Most people think procrastination is a time management problem. It's not. If it were, calendars would solve it. Productivity apps would solve it. To-do lists would solve it. But millions of people have all of those things and still struggle to begin. The real problem is that procrastination is an emotional regulation strategy. In simple terms, you're not avoiding the task. You are avoiding the feelings associated with the task. Think about the last thing you procrastinated on. Maybe it was studying, starting a business, posting content online, having a difficult conversation. The task itself wasn't necessarily painful. What felt uncomfortable was everything surrounding it. The uncertainty, the possibility of failure, the fear of judgment, the chance that your effort might not be enough. So your brain looked for relief, and it found it. Through delay. For a few moments, postponing the task reduces anxiety. The problem is that the relief is temporary, and temporary relief becomes a habit surprisingly fast. One of the most important concepts in psychology is something called negative reinforcement. Despite the name, it doesn't mean punishment. It means removing something unpleasant. When a task creates anxiety, and you avoid that task, the anxiety temporarily decreases. Your brain notices this. It learns, avoidance makes me feel better. And because the brain loves immediate rewards, it repeats the behavior. This is why procrastination can become automatic. Not because you're consciously choosing it, but because your brain has been trained to seek short-term comfort. Here's where things get even more interesting. Research shows that when people think about a difficult task, the brain often responds as if it's facing a threat. Not a physical threat, a psychological one. Your brain starts imagining worst-case scenarios. What if I fail? What if people judge me? What if I'm not good enough? What if I discover I'm not as capable as I thought? Suddenly, a simple task feels emotionally heavy, and the more important the goal is, the heavier it feels. That's why people often procrastinate most on the things they care about most, not least. The perfectionism trap. There's another hidden driver behind procrastination: perfectionism. Many people assume perfectionists are productive, but often the opposite is true. Perfectionism creates impossible standards, and impossible standards create hesitation. If the first attempt must be exceptional, starting becomes dangerous. Imagine someone wanting to launch a YouTube channel. Instead of uploading their first imperfect video, they spent months researching, learning editing, studying successful creators, planning future content, everything except publishing. From the outside, it looks productive. Internally, it's avoidance disguised as preparation. Because preparation feels safer than exposure. The video cannot fail if it never exists. The identity problem. There's another layer most people never consider. Some procrastination is actually self-protection. especially among intelligent people. When you haven't tried, your potential remains untouched. The dream stays alive. You can always tell yourself, I could do it if I really wanted to. But action tests that belief. Action creates evidence, and evidence can be uncomfortable. If the outcome isn't perfect, it challenges the identity you've built around your potential. So sometimes people unconsciously protect their self-image by delaying action. The tragedy is that protecting potential prevents growth. Potential only becomes real when it's tested. So how do you break the cycle? Not by becoming more disciplined overnight, not by forcing yourself into constant productivity, and not by waiting for motivation. The solution begins with understanding that action comes before motivation, more often than motivation comes before action. Most people believe they need to feel ready first. Psychology suggests otherwise. Action creates momentum. Momentum creates motivation. Motivation sustains action. The sequence is usually reversed. This means your goal isn't to complete the entire task. Your goal is to reduce resistance. Behavioral scientists call this lowering the activation energy. Make the first step so small that avoidance becomes difficult. Want to write a report? Open the document. Want to exercise? Put on your shoes. Want to start creating content? Record 30 seconds. Tiny actions may seem insignificant, but they accomplish something powerful. They shift your brain from thinking mode into doing mode, and once movement begins, continuing becomes easier. There's another useful mindset shift. Stop asking, how do I finish this? Start asking, how do I begin? The brain often gets overwhelmed by entire projects. It rarely gets overwhelmed by one small action. Focus on beginnings, not outcomes. Here's a simple exercise to try today. Choose one task you've been avoiding. Write it down. Now, shrink it until it feels almost ridiculous. If you've been avoiding writing a book, write one paragraph. If you've been avoiding exercise, do 5 minutes. If you've been avoiding a business idea, send one message. Then make a commitment, not to finish, just to start. This matters because action changes your emotional state faster than thinking does. You don't need certainty. You don't need confidence. You need evidence. Evidence that you can move despite discomfort. And that evidence only comes through action. Procrastination isn't proof that you're lazy. It's often proof that you're human. A brain trying to avoid discomfort. A mind seeking short-term relief. A person protecting themselves from uncertainty. The problem is that every delay trades temporary comfort for long-term frustration. And eventually, the cost becomes too high. The good news is that procrastination isn't a character flaw. It's a psychological pattern, and patterns can be changed. One small action at a time. So the next time you catch yourself waiting for motivation, confidence, or the perfect moment, remember this. You don't overcome procrastination by feeling ready. You overcome it by moving before you are. Because the life you want is rarely hidden behind a lack of knowledge. It's usually hidden behind one action you've been postponing. Take that action today, and let momentum do what motivation never could.
So, friends, your time matters, your mind matters. Keep choosing growth. If this story moved you, a like or comment means a lot. And if you are new here, welcome to Mind Drive. Subscribe and stay inspired.